Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the greatness of Hot Springs Village, Arkansas and the surrounding areas. People, places, experiences. Hot Springs Village is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we engage in weekly conversations to explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com. Today's show is brought to you by RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village. The award-winning RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village is the largest real estate office inside the village with over 30 full-time agents and support staff. Visit them to learn more about this beautiful place to solve your real estate needs. Call them at 1-800-364-9007. Find them online at explorehsv.com. They are RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village at 1-800-364-9007 or online at explorehsv.com. HSV Inside Out is also brought to you by Ike Eisenhower State Farm. Ike and his award-winning team have been serving the insurance needs of folks all around Hot Springs Village since 1998. Ike has qualified for State Farm's President's Club, Chairman's Circle, and Hot Springs Village Insurance Agent of the Year. Call Ike Eisenhower State Farm today at 501-984-4100. That's 501-984-4100. Find them online at ikeeisenhower.net. Call them today for all your insurance needs because, like a good neighbor, Ike Eisenhower State Farm is there.
Dennis Simpson here today for Hot Springs Village Inside Out, again from the beautiful shores of Lake Ouachita State Park. As you can see in these videos, it is simply beautiful. We have not doctored, touched, or added to these photos in any way, and it simply can't be more beautiful. Today we're going to talk again with Mr. James Wilburn, becoming a wonderful friend. He's a great guy to talk to, and I tell you what, once again, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't realize the investment and the value of our state parks, our National Forest Service, our national parks, dollar per dollar, they're the greatest benefit and value you will find in America, I personally believe. Today, this is the part 2 where James and I are just chatting, and I call it the mayor of Lake Ouachita State Park, and you'll see why. And James is thoroughly entertaining and a delightful guy to talk to. After we did the Bald Eagle tour a few days ago, we actually just sat out in the boat, and he drove us up into a cove. As we were rolling up into the cove, we had just a few minutes to sit and talk, and we talked about hydrilla, which is a underwater plant, flowering plant, and can it be invasive? And just, there's not a question he couldn't answer. Not one question he couldn't answer, and was an absolute delight in every way. The reason I'm talking over this and explaining is because we're about to get to a place where I'm just going to let you listen. We putter out over the lake. This is not a high pressure, bam, 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 this story, that story. No, Randy and I have discussed this in great detail and in great depth. And the bottom line is that we need to show you the man behind the curtain, behind the man. We need to show you what Hot Springs Village and the surrounding area are completely and totally like. No filter, no, hey, here's the good stuff or here's the bad. No, it's just what it is, and it speaks for itself, and you'll see that in today's episode. Once again, want to thank Mr. James Wilburn for the Lake Ouachita State Park. He has been more than gracious with a complete all-access pass to anything we wanted to do, anything we wanted to ask him, and once again, a great treasure and a great value. So enjoy our little boat tour and meet the mayor of Lake Ouachita State Park.
Yeah, if do you mind? Could we pull up in one of these coves and throw up an anchor?
Yeah. See, here the wind won't blow us around.
Yeah. Well, and the
we
light's much more balanced here too in the shade like this.
Yep.
Excellent, James. Thank you. Dennis Simpson, Mr. James Wilburn again from the beautiful Lake Ouachita State Park. So the mayor of Lake Ouachita State Park, is that about right, kind of?
Well, I wear many different hats. You know, as a park superintendent, you're responsible for, you know, campsites and water systems, and, you know, I have my own police force. We sort of, you know, have rangers.
You have security.
You have security. We have educational programs. We have resale operations. So I was blessed, you know, when I got into this job. I found a job that I love. And if you work a job you love,
never work a day in your life.
Never work a day in your life. So, you know, it's been a fun 30 some odd years that I've done this.
30 years, yeah.
And so it's nice when you get to do something you really enjoy doing. And every day is different.
You mean like going out on the shore with a guy from the village to shoot a podcast, right?
A podcast or talking to someone about all sorts of different aspects of the park, you know, whether it's resale operations this morning. As soon as I get through here, I'll need to take a bank deposit into the bank, you know. So
check the levels at the sewer. Check the levels at the water.
Yeah, I check the water meters to make sure that you know, we don't have a leak or something like that. And then when we do have a leak, you got to get out there and fix it, you know.
Now.
Yeah.
It's like running a small town that's open 24 hours a day, 720, and it's on public display. The state says, come to our parks, which are the gem of Arkansas, if you ask me. But it all falls back on your shoulders, right?
Correct. And we try to provide, you know, we want the guests to have a great positive experience.
Yeah.
And we're always receptive to complaints that they have. Now, sometimes they complain about stuff I have no control over.
It's raining.
You know, or the geese poop. The geese poop at their campsite. I mean, I really can't do much about that. I mean, I'm sorry we have geese and they poop, but there's not a lot I can do about that. But
we actually, in the village, we had a lady that contacted the POA, and she knew that we had about 200 workers. And she had tragically, she had one of her granddaughters got bit by a copperhead. And which hardly ever fatal, you know that, I know that, but it's still, I mean, your hand swells up. It's traumatic. It's very bad. It's all that. But her suggestion is that we take all of the 200 workers, staff, clerical, janitorial, everything, and we just start at one end and go to the other and have a snake kill. So it shouldn't take very long. It's just 26,000 acres, 41 square miles. Shouldn't take us long to kill every snake, right? Like that's even a good idea, right, James?
Yeah, well, and you know, guests are always fun and entertaining. You know, everybody says, what do you do for fun? I say, well, I talk to tourists, you know, because they do come up with...
Tourists say the silliest things.
They do. I had a lady come in and she was asking if it got dark here at night, you know. And
Are you serious?
I said, well, every night I've been here, it's gotten dark.
But I can't
that's
talk about no future promises.
But what she meant was, right, you know, did it have a lot of lights? Yeah. Well, she had been at a campsite that had a lot of night lights, you know, and stuff. And I said, no, we have dark skies here, and we've been working with some folks actually out of the village to get a dark sky certification, because the lunar eclipse last night was pretty awesome.
Oh, it was amazing.
You know, and so to come out and see the stars and enjoy the nature, you know, that's what we really want people to do. But yeah, my job as the park superintendent is to make sure, and I have a staff of about 15 full-time people and another 15 part-time, so about 30 people, that we try to make sure that when you come to our park, you get clean restrooms, you get a nice cabin, you get good security, good programming like lake tours, and you get a great experience.
But that's 24/7, 365. How do you do that with 30 people? I'm in my mind, I'm like, that's a reasonable number, but then I divide it by 24 hours a day by 365, and somebody's got to have a vacation and sleep, right?
Sure. Well, and you know, like today, I have an assistant, but he's out on maternity leave. He's just had a new baby yesterday.
Wow.
So
Congratulations
to him. So yeah, you just filter in just like any other business. You know, you have people that I try to have at least 2 people at each key facility, so that if one's out, you've got a backup, you know, type thing. But we do a pretty good job of managing all of those things. But the people make the park system. You know, having good quality workers, and some of our workers are like me. I've been here 30 some odd years. Some of them have been 20, 15. You know, it's nice when you get someone that finds a niche that they really enjoy and stay with us.
Now, did you tell me that there were 52 state parks?
52 state parks currently, or maybe 53 now. I think Lake Sylvia was added, which
Oh,
is to
really?
the east. Yeah.
Well, I know exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just a quick reference here real quick. 52 state parks, and every one offered, there's in the Delta, there's on Crowley's Ridge, there's in Western Arkansas, there's more Ouachita type areas.
Sure.
What would you say is the specialty of, what's special about Lake Ouachita State Park?
Well, our lake is the largest within the state.
Really?
You know, when the lake was built in the late 1950s, it was built for flood control and hydroelectric power.
Mhm.
The fact that millions of people come here a year for recreation is a byproduct. But what a great byproduct.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're surrounded by the Ouachita National Forest, virgin shoreline all the way around, like clear water, 10, 12 feet visibility on the upper thermocline. So that's why the lake park, or our park, was established in 1955, and that's why people come to our lake, is to get out on the water.
Well, and let me give you advice, people, like you're asking me for advice, but James, I know you'll echo this. When we talk about the copperhead bite and the other things, this is beautiful and it is nature, but it will bite you. It is not an amusement ride. OSHA didn't come out and approve all this. This is real nature, and you need to respect it as such. Is that fair?
Yeah, we respond to medical emergencies on the lake, and we see occasionally people do different things that we have to respond to. The main thing when you go into the natural area like Lake Ouachita or anywhere, just be aware of your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Dress appropriately. You
Right.
know, don't hike
With flip-flops.
Flip-flops on a really rocky trail.
Yeah.
You know, wear sunscreen, wear a life jacket if you're on a boat. You know, simple. Take some safety. Let people know where you're going.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I told you we went to the flat side the other day. As soon as we walked in, I'm like, we're going into the flat side. We hope to be back in about 2 hours.
Sure.
Right?
and
Yeah.
you need to let someone that know where you're going and when you're due to return. Because I've had people call me. A nice lady called me from the village a couple of years ago. She was worried about her husband out fishing on the lake, and he'd not come back.
Wow.
And of course, we went out and we located him. Of course, he was catching fish, so you know.
Well, you can't come home when you're catching fish, honey.
So he
Hello?
was fine, but she was worried about him.
Yeah, as you would be.
Yeah, and he was exactly where he told her he would be. So it made it easy for us to locate him
Right.
quickly.
Right.
So-
But you have to go out on those type of. I guess for me, and I'm not just trying to complain or bemoan things, but if you know you're going into a dangerous area or a place that has threats, don't wear flip-flops. Don't use
Take
your
some
common-
water on a
take-
hike. You know,
Yeah,
things
take water on
like
a hike.
that.
Just
Yeah.
common sense. You're going for a 45-minute cruise. Imagine you're Gilligan's Island. Okay, what happens if it breaks down? What do you do, right?
Yeah. Well, luckily, yeah, we don't have any issues with our boats typically. I mean, if a boat breaks down, we have other boats that'll come
Right,
get you and that kind
right.
of stuff. But yeah, if someone goes out on the water, they need to make sure they've got the cell phone signals work on the lake, so they
Mhm.
can all call and tell me they're lost, for example. I can't help them, but it makes them feel better to know I know they're lost.
We're aware that you're lost at this
Right.
point on the water.
Because they're like, I see a bunch of trees and water. No, we can usually narrow it down and tell
Yeah.
them to find a navigational marker. We can help get them back. You know, go right.
So is it go right? Is it like 40,000 acres? Is that what it is?
40,000 acres of surface water, 36 miles roughly long, about 6 miles wide. And so it's a big resource.
About 200 about 200 islands.
Well, island count, I'm not exactly sure. It all varies on.
It's going to
lake
vary on the
levels.
water level.
Yeah.
We did a show earlier. We talked about the Three Sisters, which I dearly love. A little place up on the creek, which is, just heaven on earth. I think like this right now for what it is. But I remember when I was at Three Sisters, we rented a little paddle boat. Remember when they used to have the shop there? We rented a paddle boat and we went up in one of the coves. We came around a cove, and I swear, James, a pterodactyl came flying out from the outside, and it was a great blue heron.
Sure.
But you see a 15-foot wingspan and you're thinking, oh my God, it's a pterodactyl or whatever. Be prepared for what comes around. This is not the mall.
Right.
It's not a parking lot. You just never know what's going to happen. So be prepared.
We get the question about bears, for example.
Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
we see bears in the village, and there's bears in the national forest. We really don't see them in the park that often because the park's a peninsula, and the bears don't like people. Typically, they don't
Don't
travel.
like the smells.
Right.
Don't like they like their food. They just don't like the smells.
But it's also don't feed them. Don't feed the bears. Don't feed the raccoons. A lot of people will feed raccoons and other wild animals, and that's just not good for them.
They get used to that food.
Right, and human food is not natural food for them.
Sure, sure.
Well, they may eat gummy bears. Gummy bears aren't part of their natural diet. So, we don't necessarily want to feed them at your home or even at your campsite.
Unless you want a problem.
Well, and it's going to add down the road to
Well, I mentioned
guests.
I'm the president of the Town Homeowners Association in the village, right?
Yeah.
Well, we've been trapping raccoons. We quit counting at 42.
Yep.
So if y'all have a lot of new raccoons lately, it's because we're trapping them and bringing them to the national forest and letting them out and putting them back in.
We do that with otters. We have a lot of otters. Yeah, otters will eat fish, and the fishermen will clean their fish, usually back toward the marina area, throw the scraps in the water. Otter eats what he can, and what he can't eat, he sticks under the marina. For
and it starts rotting.
Yeah, so we had to rake all that out. So we trap them and take them to someone else's marina and let them go. No, we do otter relocation. So yeah, lots of
Where would you take them to a rural area?
Well, here we go up toward the north, up toward Navy Landing and up in that area.
Yeah, oh, that's North Shore, that kind of thing. James, I could go on and do this all day. Number one, it is spectacularly beautiful. This is your office every day, is that right?
Every day. It's nice that I don't really plan my days. I just show up and deal with whatever I need to deal with that day. But yeah, I get to go out on the lake, visit with you, Dennis, and do lake tours and stuff, or visit with whoever's at the park. That's
so what's the Eagles song? Every day I wake up and wonder what's going to happen today.
That's right.
Is it that kind of thing?
That kind of thing. And that's why it's such a great job. Is my wife? Well, my wife supports me, so I can keep my fun job. But all good Rangers have wives that support.
So she lets you play. Is what I'm hearing. I've got a wife who's a CPA working right now while I'm out on the lake interviewing you. Right. So there's that.
I came in after a summer day and I said, "Man, we're out." She goes, "What'd you do today?" So I had some kayaking this morning, and then I had a snorkeling program this afternoon. So I've been snorkeling all day. So yeah, I'm just wore out. Yeah.
She was playing My Heart Bleeds for You, right? Yeah, it must be awful, James. I'm so sorry you had to do that today, right?
Right. So it's not a bad job. It's a good job. I didn't get rich, but I've had a great time.
Man, this is just exceptional. How many acres? So it's 40,000 acres for the lake. Sure. The peninsula's back over here. We're up in what creek again?
This is called Harper's Creek.
Harper's Creek. This is part of
the National Forest. Yeah,
National Forest. This is Blakely Mountain hiking area.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, when you say we want to go hike in the National Forest, Blakely Mountain is probably the place you want to be.
It is a nice area. Yeah.
Yeah, and you actually drive to the end of a gravel road, park, and walk down to something like this, and you're alone except for a couple of guys on a boat shooting a podcast on the middle of a Wednesday. What would you like to tell the guest more than anything? If you come to the park, what's the first thing you would do if you come to the park? Whoa. And let me interrupt before I even answer the question. They don't know the level of lodging. You can stay in a camp. Sorry, man, there's a pregnant spider on you, buddy. He's in the lake now. But there's primitive camping on one end, and there's really nice lodging cabins on the other end.
Sure.
Give us a profile of that and what you would do if you tell people to come.
Well, we have 2 and 3 bedroom cabins. We also have a camper cabin, which is like a nice 1-room unit with the air conditioning and a bed and everything. It doesn't have a bathroom or kitchen, but it's really reasonably priced. More like a glorified campsite. And then you have full hookup RV sites and then down to tent sites. And then, of course, people... this is a unique lake that you can go out on and camp along the lake shore.
Mm-hmm. On the islands.
On the islands and stuff, which is a whole nother area of camping. So lots of different ways to experience the lake and to stay overnight and really enjoy the stars and all the things there are to do here. But when people first come to the park, I always recommend they stop at the visitor center. You can get a map. My staff have been trained to be engaging and to ask you, what are you looking to do? Are you here to swim? Are you here to hike? Do you want to rent a kayak? What can we help direct you toward your use or your interest within the park, whether that's the springs or camping or cabins or whatever that might be.
And roughly the range of prices. Primitive camping is X much.
Like $15 for a tent site up to a couple $100 for a cabin. So it just sort of depends on what your level is. And in the middle, 40 or $50 maybe for a campsite.
Well, I'm thinking also it's not just that, but it's what you want to do. I mean, if you're saying, okay, we're going to come here and spend a week, well, maybe the cabins, or it's the later beautiful time of year. Now it's a little warm, but it's not terribly humid. You wouldn't have to have an air conditioner. So camping out toward the primitive area would be nice too.
Sure, those are our walk-in tent area in Area A, right on the water. Cool weathers like this, where you nice cool evenings and days. People love those to be able to walk off your campsite and walk down and just jump right in.
Put your feet in the water.
Yeah. Skip a rock.
Tell us again, and we've covered this. By the way, go back and you want to see the Eagle show we did a few minutes ago, probably a few days ago when you see it, the magic of editing. But tell me about the water. I mean, you said 10 to 12 feet of visibility. That's kind of rare for this part of the...
Well, all of the rock that you're seeing here is sandstone and shell, so it's all sedimentary. And so the water that comes into the Ouachita Basin area is fairly clear. It doesn't have a lot of dirt or sediments or silt in it. So the water clarity here is very good. What we call the thermocline, water stratifies out at 10 meters, 33 feet. And so everything above that, you can get 10 or 12 feet visibility typically with the lake, which is great for scuba diving and spearfishing, that kind of stuff.
So below that 33 feet, it gets cold
40
and
degrees.
Dark and no oxygen, right?
Right. Well, a little bit of oxygen, but it's 40 feet. Once you drop below 35 or 10 meters, 33 feet,
right,
the water temperature is 40 degrees year round, because that's the maximum density of water.
Really?
Water reaches 32 degrees, it freezes.
Right. So 40, really?
The maximum density of water is 40. So water molecules get together at 40. Once they pass 40, they're getting like 39. They're expanding because they're moving toward freezing. So they get light. So the maximum density of water is 40 degrees. So the weight above it, all that weight of that 33 feet of water,
keeps the pressure
compresses the water to 40 degrees.
Okay.
And that's everywhere in the world.
That's a question I've always wanted. Literally, you answered why I can leave my pool open all year round.
Right. That's why it's nice, because you don't want the lakes. If otherwise, that's why lakes freeze from the top down, and not from the bottom up. Otherwise, it would kill all the fish.
Well, so some of the popular spots down by the Blakely Dam for scuba diving and whatever. And I've seen people out there all the time. And actually, there's a monument. There's a monument there, isn't there? A memorial.
To a Navy SEAL that was from the Hot Springs area and stuff. So kind of cool.
So a beautiful more area. Look, I promise you, we're coming back with more stuff eventually. James, thank you for being with us again.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
A pleasure. Hot Springs Village, Dennis Simpson, struggling by again. We'll see you next time. Man, James, this is sinking awesome.
Thanks for watching and listening to Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a weekly podcast starring Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Visit the website at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com.